Gentlemen, let me ask you something bold. What if I told you that the secret to bringing back the kind of erections you thought were gone forever could be as simple as what you stir into your morning coffee? Not a prescription, not an expensive treatment, but a small addition that could help you perform like a man even at 70 or 80. I know that sounds shocking, but stay with me, because the science and the stories I've seen in my patients prove it's real. My name is Dr. James. I'm a board-certified urologist with over 3 decades of experience helping men reclaim their vitality. I've sat across from veterans, grandfathers, and husbands who believed decline was inevitable. They felt embarrassed, frustrated, and hopeless. But with the right knowledge and guidance, I've watched those same men regain their energy, their confidence, and their manhood. Here's the part that surprises most people. The real solution doesn't always come from the pharmacy. In fact, some of the most powerful tools I've seen work are not hidden in a pill bottle at all. They're sitting quietly in your kitchen cabinet. And when you combine them with something you already drink every day, the effect can be extraordinary. So here's my promise to you. I'm going to reveal exactly what to add to your coffee to support better blood flow, stronger energy, and yes, the kind of erections that last, even in your later years. This isn't theory. It's proven, practical, and within your reach. And in just a moment, I'll share the first ingredient that could change your mornings, your confidence, and your life. Stay with me because you do not want to miss this. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to click that button and turn on the bell. That way you'll never miss another tip designed to help men stay strong, healthy, and full of life at any age. And if this message speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0, so I know how to improve and serve you better. Aging changes many things, and for men, the first signs often appear in energy, circulation, and performance. But here's the truth. Decline is not destiny. Your body can still thrive when given the right support. Let's begin with the foundation, understanding how age really impacts male performance. 1. The truth about aging and male performance. Aging is something every man faces, yet very few talk about openly. You wake up one morning, look in the mirror, and realize the man staring back at you doesn't feel like the man you used to be. Your body is slower to respond, your energy doesn't last the way it once did, and the fire you carried in your younger years seems to flicker instead of burn. For many men, the most painful sign of this decline shows up in their performance. Erections that were once automatic now take more effort if they happen at all. Moments that used to be filled with confidence and connection can suddenly feel uncertain and frustrating. And in those moments, many men quietly wonder if this is the beginning of the end. But here's what I want you to hear loud and clear. Decline is not destiny. Yes, testosterone begins to drop after the age of 40. Yes, blood vessels naturally lose some of their flexibility with time. Yes, circulation slows and energy wanes. These are real changes that happen with age, but that does not mean the story ends there. Your body is still capable of producing strength, energy, and vitality well into your 70s and even 80s. The problem is not that your body has lost the ability, it's that it hasn't been given the proper support. Think of it like a classic car. Over the years, the paint may dull and the engine may need more care, but the beauty and the power are still there waiting to be restored. All it needs is the right fuel, the right tune-ups, and the respect it deserves. Your body works the same way. With the proper nourishment, circulation support, and hormonal balance, you can continue to perform, to love, and to live with the confidence you thought you had left behind. I've seen this transformation countless times in my patients. Men in their 60s and 70s walk into my office ashamed and discouraged, convinced they will never feel like men again. But with the right changes, they walk back weeks later with a smile that tells the whole story. Their energy returns, their relationships improve, and they rediscover a part of themselves they thought was lost forever. That spark is not gone. It's waiting to be reignited. And this is where something as simple as your morning coffee becomes more than just a habit. On its own, coffee gives you a temporary lift, a little spark of energy, but it fades quickly and leaves you reaching for another cup. But when you upgrade that coffee with the right natural additions, It becomes a daily ritual that supports circulation, stabilizes energy, and even helps restore performance. The cup you already drink every morning can be transformed into the very tool that helps bring you back to life. Now that you understand the truth about aging and male performance, that decline does not have to define you, it's time to explore exactly what you can do about it. Because the solution isn't complicated, and it doesn't require anything exotic. In fact, it may already be sitting in your kitchen. So let's begin with the first ingredient that has the power to change your mornings and, more importantly, your manhood. 2. Ingredient number 1. Cinnamon, the blood sugar guardian. Cinnamon may seem like nothing more than a spice you sprinkle on oatmeal or toast, but inside this humble powder lies a power that most men underestimate. Imagine for a moment the delicate network of blood vessels running through your body. The ones that feed your heart, your brain, and yes, the ones that fuel your ability to perform as a man. These blood vessels are thinner than a strand of hair, and they are the very first to suffer when blood sugar swings out of control. High spikes and crashes slowly corrode and damage them, like sandpaper wearing down a smooth surface. For many men, this hidden damage is the silent thief behind weaker erections and fading energy. Cinnamon steps in like a quiet guardian. It stabilizes your blood sugar, smoothing out the dangerous spikes and crashes that quietly destroy those vital vessels. By keeping your levels steady, cinnamon preserves the flow of life to the areas that matter most. Studies show it can lower fasting blood sugar by nearly 30%, a number that should catch your attention. But the real benefit isn't just in numbers, it's in what that stability allows you to feel. More balanced energy throughout the day. A body that responds instead of resists. And yes, stronger, more reliable erections because the blood supply is being protected instead of choked off. There's another secret cinnamon carries. It gently warms the body, a sensation you might have noticed in spiced foods. That warmth is not just in your mouth, it's in your blood vessels. The compound responsible, cinnamaldehyde, encourages vasodilation, the widening of those vessels. This process boosts nitric oxide, the same molecule behind the effectiveness of medications like Viagra. Only here, it's nature lending you the same support in a gentler, sustainable way. Imagine drinking your morning coffee and instead of a jittery spike and mid-morning crash, feeling steady strength and warmth carry you through the day. That's what a simple quarter teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon can begin to do for you. And don't overlook the emotional side. Many men in my care tell me that adding cinnamon to their coffee not only gave them more endurance but also restored a sense of control. They no longer felt like their mornings were dictated by fatigue or unstable energy. One man in his late 50s told me it was the difference between dozing off in the afternoon and finishing his day with power and focus. Another admitted it helped him regain intimacy with his wife after years of decline. For them, cinnamon wasn't just a spice, it was a turning point. This isn't exotic or expensive. It's not difficult or unpleasant. It's a centuries-old tradition used in cultures around the world long before modern medicine gave it a name. And now it's something you can stir into your cup tomorrow morning with almost no effort at all. The beauty of it lies in its simplicity. The power of it lies in its consistency. But cinnamon is only the beginning. Because once you discover what just a pinch of this spice can do for your blood flow, your energy, and your confidence, you'll be amazed at what happens when you add the next ingredient, one that not only supports circulation but also lights up your mood in a way few natural foods can. Are you ready to find out what it is? 3. Ingredient number 2, cocoa powder, nature's nitric oxide booster. Now let's turn to something that feels almost sinful in its richness, yet carries a gift for your body that is nothing short of extraordinary. I'm talking about cocoa powder, not the sugary hot chocolate mix from your childhood, but the pure unsweetened kind so dark it borders on black. Most men think of chocolate as a treat, but inside this bitter treasure are compounds that work like a natural switch for your circulation and vitality. Cocoa is packed with flavonoids, especially epicatechin and catechin, which directly stimulate the production of nitric oxide. That may sound like complicated science, but here's the simple truth. Nitric oxide is the very molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and open wide. Without it, blood struggles to flow where it's needed most. With it, erections become firmer, longer lasting, and more reliable. In your youth, your body produced nitric oxide with ease, but by the time you pass 50, that production is cut almost in half. Cocoa steps in to replenish what age has taken away. Research backs this up powerfully. One study published in the Journal of Hypertension found that daily cocoa intake improved blood vessel function by nearly 30%, a number that rivals the effectiveness of certain medications, but without the dangerous side effects. Imagine what that means for you, not just improved circulation to your heart and brain, but to the very center of your manhood. The difference is often not just physical, but deeply emotional. Many men report not only stronger performance, but also a renewed sense of confidence and connection with their partners. But cocoa doesn't stop at circulation. It carries compounds called anandamides, named after the Sanskrit word for bliss. These chemicals mimic the very same signals your brain releases when you are in love. Alongside this comes phenylethylamine, a natural antidepressant that lifts mood and sharpens focus. For older men, especially those who feel the weight of stress, loneliness, or fatigue, this gentle boost can change everything. It transforms your morning cup into something more than a drink. It becomes an act of self-restoration. And let's not forget magnesium, abundant in cocoa, which is critical for testosterone production and muscle function. Most men are deficient in it without even realizing, and this simple addition helps to close that gap. Of course, taste matters too. Stirring cocoa into your coffee creates a mocha-like richness without the sugar bomb that drags you down. If the flavor is too strong at first, you can sweeten it with natural, blood sugar-friendly options like stevia or monk fruit. Over time, most men come to crave the depth and satisfaction of this darker, healthier brew. I've seen patients who began this practice light up with stories of sharper mornings, more joyful moods, and yes, the return of intimacy they thought was lost. It's not magic, it's simply the body responding to nourishment it desperately needed. And if cocoa can do this much, wait until you discover the next ingredient. Because while cocoa works on your blood flow and mood, the next addition speaks directly to your hormones, your stamina, and your very sense of manhood. Let's explore a root that men in the mountains of Peru have trusted for centuries, and why it just might be your secret weapon too. Fourth ingredient number 3, Maca powder, the ancient Andean secret. High in the rugged Andes mountains of Peru, where the air is thin and the conditions are harsh, there grows a root that has been treasured by men for thousands of years. That root is Maca, often called the natural Viagra of the Andes. Unlike stimulants that give you a quick surge and then a crash, Maca works in a deeper, more lasting way. It doesn't push your body beyond its limits. It helps your body remember what it was designed to do. This small, nutty-tasting powder holds the power to awaken desire, restore energy, and bring balance to your hormones in a way that feels both natural and sustainable. When you stir Maca into your morning coffee, you are introducing your body to a plant that has survived in one of the toughest environments on Earth. That resilience transfers to you. Maca contains 19 amino acids, along with key minerals like zinc, calcium, iron, and magnesium, each of them critical to male vitality. But what makes Maca so unique are compounds known as macamines and macines, which are found nowhere else in nature. These special molecules appear to act directly on the hypothalamus and pituitary gland, the command centers for your entire hormone system. Instead of forcing hormones into your body, Maca encourages your glands to produce more of their own. This is why men who take it often notice gradual but profound changes, an increase in energy, a clearer mind, a stronger drive, and more reliable performance where it matters most. Scientific studies support what Andean men have known for centuries. In 2009, research showed that men who consumed just 2.4 grams of Maca daily, about a teaspoon, experienced measurable improvements in both desire and performance within weeks. Another study found significant boosts in sperm count and motility, key markers of reproductive health. And unlike artificial solutions that wear off in hours, Maca's benefits build steadily, leaving men feeling not only more virile but also more balanced and alive. There is also an emotional side to Maca that is hard to measure but impossible to ignore. Many of my older patients have described it as though a fog had lifted. One man in his mid-50s told me it felt like someone switched the lights back on in my head. Another in his 60s said his workout suddenly felt easier, his patience longer, and his nights far more satisfying. For men who thought their best days were behind them, this little root has restored not just performance, but hope. And the taste? Mild and pleasant with a hint of malt or butterscotch depending on the variety. Yellow Maca is the gentlest and most common. Red Maca supports prostate health, and black Maca is often chosen for stamina and energy. No matter which you choose, the effect is the same, steady improvement that grows stronger with time. But while Maca works on your inner balance and hormonal strength, there's another ingredient that takes a different path altogether. Instead of focusing on hormones, it gives your body the raw fuel it needs to actually build those hormones. And when you blend it into your coffee, the transformation is not just powerful, it's deliciously creamy and energizing in a way you've never experienced before. Let's talk about the surprising role of coconut oil. 5. Ingredient number 4. Coconut oil, the hormone fuel. For decades, men were told to fear fat. Low-fat diets became the so-called path to health, but what most of those diets actually did was strip the body of the very building blocks it needs to produce hormones, especially testosterone. Testosterone doesn't appear out of thin air. It is crafted by your body from cholesterol and healthy fats, the raw materials that allow your system to maintain strength, energy, and manhood. This is where coconut oil becomes more than a cooking ingredient. It becomes a lifeline. Coconut oil is rich in medium-chain triglycerides, or MCTs. These unique fats bypass the slow digestive process and go straight to your liver, where they are instantly converted into usable energy. For you, that means no sluggish crash, no waiting for hours to feel a benefit. It's like putting high-octane fuel in your engine. Your body lights up quickly and stays steady for hours. Studies have shown that MCTs not only boost energy but also support higher testosterone levels compared to other types of fat. They also aid thyroid function, which regulates metabolism, mood, and vitality. The result is a foundation of strength that supports your performance in every area of life. When you blend a teaspoon of coconut oil into hot coffee, something magical happens. The oil emulsifies, creating a creamy latte-like drink that tastes indulgent yet delivers nothing but power. Men who try this often describe the difference as night and day. Instead of a jittery caffeine spike followed by a crash, they enjoy hours of focused energy, sharper mental clarity, and a quiet but undeniable lift in confidence. The fat slows caffeine absorption, which smooths out the ride and prevents the mid-morning crash that leaves so many reaching for a second cup. And let's not overlook how this impacts intimacy. With steady energy and stronger hormone production, men report a renewed sense of vigor in the bedroom. I remember a patient in his late 60s who came back after just a few weeks of coconut oil coffee. He told me with a grin he hadn't worn in years that his wife was the first to notice the difference. That is the power of fueling your body the way nature intended. Of course, your body may need a little time to adjust. Start small with half a teaspoon and let your system adapt. If coconut oil feels too heavy, MCT oil, more concentrated and easier to digest, can offer the same benefits in an even smoother form. Either way, what you're really giving your body is permission to make hormones again, to stoke the fire that time and poor nutrition may have dampened. Now you can see why this single addition can change not just your coffee but your day. Yet as powerful as coconut oil is, there's still one more ingredient that deserves your attention. It has been used in medicine for thousands of years. It lights a fire in your circulation, and modern research shows it can increase testosterone by double digits. Let's talk about the fiery root that could be the spark your mornings have been waiting for. 6th ingredient number 5. Ginger, the circulation rocket. If there is one ingredient that has stood the test of time in nearly every culture on Earth, it is ginger. For more than 5,000 years, this fiery root has been used not only to add flavor, but to heal, restore, and strengthen the human body. And when it comes to circulation, energy, and manhood, ginger is nothing short of extraordinary. Its warmth is something you feel almost instantly, spreading through your chest and down your arms like a gentle fire. But what you may not realize is that the same compounds creating that heat are also opening up your blood vessels, reducing inflammation, and driving fresh, oxygen-rich blood exactly where your body needs it most. Inside ginger are powerful compounds called gingerols and shogols. These natural chemicals relax and expand blood vessels, improving circulation from head to toe. For a man, that means stronger, more consistent blood flow to the areas that matter most for intimacy and performance. Studies confirm what ancient healers already knew. One clinical trial showed men who consumed ginger daily experienced an almost 18% increase in testosterone after just 3 months. Another revealed improvements in sperm count and motility, markers that prove ginger's influence runs deeper than just circulation. It protects, supports, and enhances the very foundation of male vitality. The science is impressive, but the stories I hear from patients are even more powerful. A man in his early 70s once told me that after adding ginger to his morning routine, he felt like someone had restarted his engine. His energy lasted longer through the day, his mind felt sharper, and he said intimacy with his wife was alive again. These are not isolated experiences. Time after time, ginger has proven to be more than a spice. It is a spark that reignites the body's natural rhythm. There is also something almost symbolic about ginger. Life has a way of cooling down with age. Energy slows, passion fades, and warmth gives way to routine. Ginger is like tossing a log on that fire. It reminds your system what it feels like to burn bright, to move blood freely, to carry vitality in every step. Whether you use a slice of fresh root or a dash of powdered spice, the effect is unmistakable. The flavor wakes you up, the warmth lingers, and the benefits build quietly over time. Practicality matters too. Fresh ginger delivers immediate warmth and circulation support, while powdered ginger provides concentrated long-term benefits. Start with a small amount, a quarter teaspoon of powder or a thin slice of fresh root, and let your body adjust. For most men, it quickly becomes a ritual, not just for the health benefits, but for the sense of vitality it brings to each morning. By now, you can see how simple ingredients like cinnamon, cocoa, maca, coconut oil, and ginger can transform your morning coffee into something much more than a drink. But knowing what to add is only half the battle. The real key is how to combine these ingredients in a way that works with your body, step by step, without overwhelm. And that's exactly what we're about to uncover next. 7. How to start the step-by-step plan. Now that you know the 5 powerful ingredients that can transform your morning coffee into a natural support system for energy, circulation, and performance, the question becomes, how do you begin? The mistake most men make is trying to change everything at once. They throw every powder, oil, and spice into the cup on day 1, only to end up with a stomach ache and a drink they never want to touch again. The truth is, your body responds best to steady change, not shock. Think of this as building strength in the gym. You don't load 300 pounds onto the bar your first day. You start small, let your body adjust, and then add more as you grow stronger. The same principle applies here. The first step is simple. Start with cinnamon. A quarter teaspoon stirred into your coffee each morning is enough to begin stabilizing blood sugar, protecting your blood vessels, and gently boosting nitric oxide. It's a change that feels almost effortless, yet many men report they notice the difference in energy within the first week. Cinnamon is familiar, pleasant, and the easiest place to begin. Once that feels natural, add cocoa in the second week. Just a teaspoon alongside the cinnamon turns your coffee into a rich mocha while adding a major lift for circulation and mood. Many men find themselves not only feeling sharper but also enjoying their coffee more than ever. By now, your body has already begun to adjust, and you'll notice steadier mornings and fewer crashes by midday. Week 3 is the time to introduce Maca. You don't need it every single day at first. Try it 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and notice how your body responds. The adaptogenic qualities of Maca build over time, which means each week you continue, the benefits grow stronger. Energy feels more stable. Desire begins to rise, and clarity returns in a way you may not have felt in years. In week 4, it's time to experiment with either coconut oil or ginger. If you prefer something creamy and rich, coconut oil is the natural choice. Start with half a teaspoon, blend it well, and enjoy the latte-like texture that fuels your hormones and provides steady energy. If you want a kick of warmth and circulation, ginger is your ally. Add a thin slice of fresh root or a quarter teaspoon of powder and feel the fire spread through your body in the best way possible. The beauty of this plan is that it respects both your body and your lifestyle. It doesn't demand drastic change. It builds step by step, giving you time to adapt, to enjoy, and to notice the subtle yet powerful improvements as they come. Before long, this will no longer feel like an experiment. It will feel like a ritual you look forward to every single morning. And once you've built this habit, the changes don't just show up in your coffee cup. They appear in your afternoons, your relationships, your workouts, and your confidence as a man. Still, I know it's one thing to hear a doctor explain this plan and another to see how it has worked in real lives. That's why the next part may be the most inspiring of all, because it's not my story, it's the stories of men just like you who gave this a try and found their lives transformed. 8. Real stories from my patients. Over the years, I've treated thousands of men, and while the science behind these ingredients is powerful, it is the stories from real people that bring the truth to life. Numbers on a chart can only say so much, but when a man who once believed his best years were behind him walks into my office with a new spark in his eyes, that is the kind of evidence that stays with you forever. I remember a contractor in his late 50s who came to see me exhausted, drained, and embarrassed about his declining performance. He told me he could barely make it through the afternoon without collapsing on the couch, and intimacy with his wife had become rare. He started with something as simple as cinnamon and cocoa in his morning coffee. Within 2 weeks, he said the crashes were gone. By the 3rd week, he was finishing jobs with the same drive he had in his younger days. His wife noticed the change too, not just in his energy, but in the way he looked at her again. He told me with a grin, "Doc, it feels like I got my second life." Then there was a retired school teacher, 72 years old, who had quietly accepted that intimacy was over for him. He was skeptical but willing to try. We began with the step-by-step plan, and within a month he reported a lightness in his body and a clarity in his mind that he hadn't felt in years. But the moment that brought tears to his eyes was when his wife reached across the table one morning and said, "You're back." That simple statement meant more to him than any number ever could. One of my most memorable cases was a veteran, 80 years old, who came to me convinced his time as a man had ended. He tried the additions with discipline, keeping notes just as I advised. 3 months later, he told me his strength had returned, not just below the waist, but in his heart and in his spirit. He laughed as he said, "I thought I was done, but it turns out I was just waiting to be reminded what my body could still do." These stories are powerful because they reveal the truth. No matter your age, no matter how long you've struggled, change is possible. It doesn't require miracles or magic. It requires consistency, patience, and the willingness to take small steps every day. The men who committed to this process discovered not only better performance, but a renewed sense of purpose and connection. They no longer saw themselves as victims of aging, but as men still capable of strength, intimacy, and joy. And if these men could experience such transformations with just a few simple additions to their daily routine, imagine what you could achieve. Because the real heart of this message is not just about ingredients or coffee, it's about hope, confidence, and the belief that your story is not over. But before we finish, I want to leave you with one final message, a truth that can carry you forward long after the last sip of your coffee, a reminder that age is never the end unless you allow it to be. 9. Final words of hope. As we come to the close of this journey, I want to speak to you from the heart. Aging is a reality none of us can escape, but the way we respond to it is entirely within our control. Too many men accept decline as inevitable. They give up on energy, on intimacy, on feeling strong, and they quietly resign themselves to fading away. But I have spent my entire career as a urologist watching men who chose differently, and what I can tell you is this: age is not the end of your story. Your body is more resilient than you realize, and even in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, it is capable of remarkable renewal when you give it the right support. Think back on what we have uncovered together: a pinch of cinnamon to protect your blood vessels and balance your energy, a spoonful of cocoa to open your circulation and lift your mood, a teaspoon of Maca to awaken your hormones and restore your drive, a swirl of coconut oil to fuel your testosterone and steady your mornings, a touch of ginger to light a fire in your blood and remind your body how to be alive again. None of these are exotic. None of them are complicated. They are small, natural, accessible steps that add up to something far greater than the sum of their parts. And what they give you is not just better performance, it is dignity, confidence, and the return of a part of yourself you thought was lost. I have looked into the eyes of men who believed they were finished, who felt ashamed and defeated. And then I have seen those same men weeks later, standing taller, smiling wider, their voices carrying a new strength. I have seen marriages rekindled, confidence restored, and men who once dreaded the future now looking forward to it with excitement. Those transformations are not reserved for a lucky few. They are available to anyone willing to make small, consistent changes and believe in the possibility of renewal. So as you sit with your morning coffee tomorrow, remember that you hold more than just a cup. You hold an opportunity, a chance to take back your mornings, to reignite your energy, and to restore your manhood in a way that feels natural and lasting. It doesn't require perfection. It doesn't demand that you change overnight. It only asks that you start one step at a time and give your body what it has been waiting for. My message to you is simple: don't give up. Don't let anyone tell you that being older means being finished. You are still capable of strength, of passion, of love, and of life. The years ahead can be vibrant if you choose to make them so. And sometimes all it takes is the courage to stir something new into your coffee and the willingness to believe that better days are not behind you. They are right in front of you. This is not the end of your story. It is a new beginning. Stay strong, stay hopeful, and never forget that your body, your spirit, and your manhood are capable of more than you ever imagined. Here's to the mornings ahead and to the man you still are.